Then we might switch to English to all our spectators and visitors out there, no matter where they're coming from, or Israel, Europe, wherever you're located. A very warm welcome from our side in this session today. We'll be talking a little bit the next 20 minutes about sales into Europe in COVID times. Maybe also a little bit general. Also, we will dive deeper into that topic. So how business has changed, maybe a little bit in COVID-19 times. What might be things coming up, things that have changed over the past couple of months or even the year we are down the road with the pandemic out there. So I'm moderating the panel today. It's an honor to have Michel with me from Müller Medien. He's the head of new business. And also Mark, normally located in Berlin, but right away he's in Sri Lanka. He told us beforehand in German. So enjoying the nice weather out there, fleeing from COVID-19. That's a good thing. He's the managing director at Debt in Berlin normally. And maybe we can start off with a very small, short introduction round that everybody who's joining today knows whom he's dealing with, of course. So maybe, Michel, you want to start? Then the stage is yours.
Sure. Thank you for the warm intro, Christoph. So my name is Michael from Müller Media in Germany. Müller is or used to be a directory player that's, you can think of yellow pages, white pages, and so on. And over the time, we provided more and more agency services for small and medium-sized businesses like website building, SEA, SEO, and so on. And we have also started from 2000 to invest in small startups and technology companies. We stepped that up over time and are now also investing in larger and later stage technology companies. And we only invest in companies focusing on B2B technology services, that's software as a service for SMEs. So that's still our core customer group, and we try to build a software stack, helping them not only on the marketing side, winning new customers, but also in their day-to-day operations. I think that's enough for now, and I hand over to Mark.
I'm Mark. I work at Debt. We're a full-service digital agency, and I used to be in Tel Aviv every year since, of course, a year before last year, and I really miss it. I really miss the passion and everything around it, and being with you guys. So to talk about marketing and data, which are the two things that I love most in the business world. And I did quite a lot of sales in these two areas. So let's talk about that.
Great. Yeah, then last but not least, I'm Christoph. I'm heading the business unit for Israel over here at NRW Global Business. We are the state-owned agency of the state of North Rhine-Westphalia, dealing with economic development. And in that perspective, as I'm also with my lovely colleagues in the office in Tel Aviv, of course, we are helping startups when expanding to Germany, of course, into our state with every kind of support they might need, business location-wise, business development-wise, everything what you can imagine. We are offering as a free service, so yeah, that in a very nutshell. And then we can kick it off maybe already, as we already heard a little bit about it. So maybe regarding your business, Michael, so did it change, of course, in a positive or negative way, hopefully only in a positive way during the COVID-19 time, but what might have been some changes you encountered as a company or also dealing with startups for quite some time already? So what might have changed in that perspective over the last year with the pandemic?
Yeah, I think it is not an easy answer here because it's very diverse. Yeah? We have a lot of business units, and in a nutshell, you can say that business units that were on or in a digital environment, in a software providing environment, they did a lot better during the last 12 months than before. They got a boost, and businesses that have not been based on a digital business model, they have done much worse than in previous times. And I think it has been even more complicated on the customer side. So we have all of the SMEs in Germany as a customer base. So no specific group, but if you look at the different segments, for example, restaurants, you couldn't sell to restaurants because they were closed most of the time. They were running to keep themselves afloat, so they had no time to think on investments and so on. And then there have been some industries affected partly over time of the year, like hairdressers and so on. They could open up under some restrictions. And we saw that, for example, hairdressers that used a lot of technology solutions, for example, booking solution technology and so on, they were doing better than their competitors. And once this was realized throughout the industry, all the hairdressers at least the ones thinking forward, were looking for solutions, and that gave a boost to the providers of such solutions. And then there were the craftsman industries in Germany. I think they had a boom year like any year else because they are not affected by technology, and they simply kept going. So it's a very diverse picture. And some of the technology startups, of course, in the first lockdown, they feared that they would not get enough funding, or that there might be down rounds and so on. But we experienced that it was just a few weeks of disruption, and then investment also in those companies started to pick up. And after that, the valuations even increased, because everybody saw that those kinds of solutions will be a typical winner of the post-COVID area. Maybe Mark, I don't know what you would like to add on that, or have you had a similar experience?
Exactly the same, maybe just from a different angle. The core industries that we used to serve, travel, retail, automotive, kind of went down a little, and it was just incredibly difficult to get any budgets from these companies, to get any even attention from these companies. And on the other hand, there was one of our stronger fields, which was e-commerce, which of course blew up. Some of our clients grew 100% year over year, insane, big companies. And we had to change our sales approach a lot. We had to take a different route towards clients and say no more often than usual. And I think this is an important one to do sales in Germany, is to look at what Michael just said. What are the winners and the losers of something like that? A big change. It doesn't have to be COVID. COVID was like a big shock. But you can also look at it from a different point of view of what's changing in the next few years and who are going to be the winners there. Sustainable energy, for example, and sell to these companies because you're going to grow with them. And most of them are quite open to being sold to, because everybody wants to work with Mercedes and with BASF and with Bayersdorf. And these guys get like 13 messages a day from people that want to sell to them. A small company in southern Germany selling batteries for car manufacturers, they don't get a whole lot of calls, but they do some extremely cool stuff, and they grow a few 100% a year. So this is the kind of things that I think the pandemic has just shown, that you need to be smart about selling. You need to be very smart about who to approach and how to approach them.
Yeah. I mean, that also covers quite. Sure, please go ahead, Michael.
I think also it's a little bit of a different culture in sales when you go to Europe and to Germany, especially. So Europeans are not or do not like to be chased, and Israeli entrepreneurs, they have a knack for sales, and they really keep up with their prospective customers, and you have to adopt to the European style in order, I think, to be successful on the German market. So a bit less of frequency, maybe something to start with, and I think that's something, the cultural aspect, one should also take into account, and that's not only true for the pandemic times. It's true, I think, for a long period.
Yeah, I guess we can take that as a general thing. So when selling to, I mean, the German-speaking market or Western Europe, I guess it's, or even Europe, it's quite a different thing to those things, you know, from the US or also from Israel. So that's also what we encounter over here. Diving a little bit deeper into the topic we mentioned already beforehand. So as you're also dealing with your customers, seeing the digital transformation going on, and might be hopefully speeding up in the last year with many companies, what also Mark mentioned. In that regard, also with spending things, so spending money on things, is there a more openness, so to speak, very frankly speaking, on also buying new technology from abroad, or is it more or less general, the same thing like before COVID? Has there been any kind of change you encountered with your customers, be it in the media sector, but also for Mark in the general sector, e-commerce, retail, what you mentioned before?
Michael, is it okay if I go first for this one?
Please.
So what both Christoph and Michael just mentioned about sales, or the salesiness of the Israelis, is to me still a little bit of a conundrum, because what Christoph just mentioned regarding digitization, etc. You go to Israel and you have some of the best technology in the world, and you have that mantra, you have that perception from the outside world that you have amazing tech, especially in machine learning, which is, you know, some of the areas that I'm really, really happy to be in. And yet still you're trying to sell a lot. You're chasing whatever comes your way. It's like you take a shotgun and just go for it. And if I could give any advice to companies, especially tech companies in Israel, is don't sell. Just show what you're doing to the world. Instead of sales, do marketing, and then let people come to you. Because then you have relevance. Because the thing is, if you have an ice cream stand and you yell out ice cream, the best ice cream, the best ice cream, people will be like, okay, I'll try it. In Germany, people will be like, oh, hell no, he's trying to sell me something. If on the other hand, you just sit there and people line up because you have great ice cream, and more people and more people and more people come up to you, then you don't have to sell. All you do is you're there, you have great product, you show that product to the world, you do inbound sales, and then you have a fantastic process, like a really, really structured and very customer-friendly process for taking in these customers. And I think this is a vital importance to sort of this difference of sales, or the sales approach that the Germans take, or even the DACH region takes, and the approach that is common in Israel or in the US for that. And one more thing is partners. Find partners. I've worked with a lot of Israeli companies that have grown just through partners in the respective regions, and don't do any sales themselves, or hardly any, just the inbound sales. And they've been very, very, very successful, extraordinarily successful, because they know that, especially in the DACH region, and even more specifically in Germany, advisors, consultants, etc., they have a lot of power. Not power, but clients take them very seriously. And getting an advice from, you know, a consultant to use product XY, that is amazing. And for that, you need great partnership management. So again, don't sell, just position your product wisely and do great customer service, and then on the other hand, work with partners and do the partnership route. Companies like Michael, who are just, they have so much reach. And if you can get them to push your product to the rest of the world, especially to Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, I mean, this is the amazing part. And then you don't sell to hundreds of companies, you sell to 2 or 3 companies. Sorry, very long.
Yeah. No worries. Great
Thank
response. You. Yeah, Michael, do you want to add upon that maybe some?
Yeah, I think the partnership approach is something that can really work very well in Germany. And also what Mark said about giving and showing more use cases, best practices, and handing out a lot more information upfront that can also include if you go for certain news groups or Facebook groups, something like that, where people discuss issues they have, and you already learn a lot by listening into those groups and exchanges and conversations. And if you then add solutions on top of that, not just putting in our services the best, but you help, you give advice, you answer questions, that can help build a reputation. And I think that's the second part of it. You have to build a certain reputation. And you can do that by working with the partners on the one side. Maybe you have a good PR agency. You might also get help from Israeli government institutions and Handelskammern and so on, so that you get contacts at media outlets and so on. And I think you do not need to get coverage in huge daily or weekly magazines, but you have to find out relevant publications that can also be blogs. Yeah, there are a lot very, very good niche blogs, and the groups I mentioned, you have to research them, and then you can build the first part of the reputation. There also it will help your business partners and the consultants, because if they read about you there, they also feel much more secure when they hand out examples to their customers and advice. If they have read about you, if you have some kind of validation by best practices and so on. So I think it is taking a little bit of time, but it is well invested.
Yeah, right. Yeah, very good answers, I would say, also covering from our side. So with regard already to the time, as the 20 minutes have passed by quite speedy. So maybe a short outlook also what Mark mentioned in the beginning for the new normal after COVID-19, hopefully sometime soon. What might be 1 or 2 crucial steps to undertake to be prepared to do sales, to do business over here in the DACH region in Europe at all? So one fact was already mentioned, like focusing maybe on the winners, on the different kind of sectors who are doing great, and even afterwards doing even greater. Also, maybe Michael, you have some other crucial steps which you would give to the startups out there for the outlook, what they can do or prepare to be in business afterwards as well.
I think one thing you also have to keep in mind is that many businesses, large and small in Europe, they really are in need of exceptional technology. And Israelis, like Mark mentioned, they are very, very good in AI, machine learning, and the many aspects attached to that. They are also very, very good in cybersecurity. And I think cybersecurity, just to mention that one, will also be big for a wide range of German customers. And I think there is a lot of growth potential, and for Israeli companies especially, I think the market has become easier. That doesn't mean it is a mowed lawn, to give that picture, but it has become easier because people are now more familiar with digital technology than ever before. Even my parents are using Zoom and virtual meetings. Yeah, everybody has used their mobile phone a lot more, and that will also help in the business context. So it has become easier, and we need Israeli technology. And if you heed the advice, some of it, and take a good approach, and not just go out with the marketing or sales hammer, then I think you will have a very, very interesting business opportunity in Germany, especially.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I guess, Mark, if you don't have to add anything, so with regards to the time again, and hopefully everybody wants to join or wants to learn how to cook Kaiserschmarrn today, a very traditional dish from over here. So please take the opportunity, and thanks again to everybody joining this panel today, also to Michael and Mark for discussing the thing about sales into Europe in COVID times. I guess some very great input, but also feel free to reach out to each and everybody of us, I would say, during the chat or the B2Match, whatever is out there, LinkedIn. So to discuss everything in depth if you need some advice from those guys. So yeah, it was a pleasure, and take care these days, and all the best.
Just don't sell to us. Let the product speak for itself.
Yeah.
Bye.